The war was ending. But Anakin Skywalker's nightmare had only begun. Night after night, he saw her die. Padme, his wife, the mother of his unborn child. In every vision, she screamed his name, clutching her throat, fading into nothing. The dreams felt real, too real, and Chancellor Palpatine had an answer. A dark answer. But Padmé Amidala was no fool. She watched her husband change. The warmth in his eyes had turned cold. His laughter disappeared. He barely looked at her anymore. When he did, she saw fear. And something worse. Desperation. So she didn't wait. The evening before Palpatine planned to spring his trap, Padme returned home early from the Senate. Anakin stood alone on their apartment balcony, staring at the Coruscant skyline. His shoulders were tight. His fists clenched. "Anakin," she said softly. He didn't turn. "We need to talk." "Not now, Padme." She stepped closer. "Yes, now." Her voice, firm, steady, unafraid, cut through the fog in his mind. Slowly, he turned. His eyes were bloodshot. "Haunted. I know about the nightmares," she continued. "I know you're afraid of losing me. But running to Palpatine for answers? Anakin, that's not the way." His jaw tightened. "You don't understand. I can stop it. I can save you. At what cost?" Padme's voice cracked. "Your soul? The Jedi? Us?" Anakin flinched. She reached for his hand. He pulled back, but she didn't let go. "Listen to me. The Chancellor, he's been in your ear for years. Every doubt, every fear, every moment the Council pushed you away, he was there. Don't you see? He's been grooming you. He's my friend. He's a liar." Silence. Padme's words hung in the air like a blade. Anakin's breathing grew ragged. She could see it. The war inside him. Light against dark. Love against fear. "I'm not going to die, Anakin," she whispered. "But if you fall, if you let him twist you into something you're not, then we're already lost." Tears welled in his eyes. For the first time in weeks, Anakin Skywalker saw clearly. And in that moment, everything changed. He looked at his wife, the woman who believed in him when no one else did, and made a choice. "Tell me what to do." Padme didn't waste a second. She led Anakin inside, away from the open balcony, away from prying eyes. They sat together in the dim light of their living room. For the first time in months, Anakin truly listened. "Think about it," Padme said, her voice calm but urgent. "Every time the Council doubted you, who was there? Every time you felt angry, isolated, afraid, who whispered in your ear that you were right to feel that way?" Anakin's hands trembled. "Palpatine. Exactly. He's been shaping you, Anakin, feeding your fears, turning you against the Jedi." "What?" He had no answer. Padme leaned forward. "Because he needs you. You're the chosen one, the most powerful Jedi alive. If he could turn you, if he could make you his..." She paused. He'd have the weapon to destroy everything. Anakin's stomach twisted. The pieces fell into place. The private conversations. The promises of power. The way Palpatine always seemed to know his doubts before Anakin even spoke them. But the visions, Anakin's voice broke. "I see you dying, Padme. I can't ignore that." She squeezed his hand. "I know, but visions aren't destiny. Yoda taught you that. The future is always in motion." Her eyes locked onto his. "And maybe these visions aren't a warning. Maybe they're a trap." Anakin froze. What if Palpatine planted them? Padme continued. "What if he's using the Force to manipulate your mind, to make you so afraid you'd do anything to stop it?" The thought was horrifying, but made sense. Too much sense. Anakin stood, pacing. "If that's true, then we need proof. We need to know what he's really planning." Padme nodded. "We test him. You go to him. Tell him you're ready to learn his power. See how he reacts. If he reveals himself, I take it straight to the Council." Exactly. It was risky, dangerous, but it was the only way. Anakin knelt before his wife. "If this goes wrong, it won't." Padme's voice was steel. "Because you're stronger than he thinks, and you're not alone anymore." He kissed her hand. "I won't let you down." "I know." That night, Anakin slept without nightmares for the first time in weeks. When he woke, Padme was already awake beside him, watching the sunrise. "Ready?" she asked. He nodded. "Then let's end this." Anakin Skywalker walked into the Chancellor's office like a man condemned. Palpatine sat behind his desk, calm, serene, waiting. He smiled warmly. "Anakin, I'm glad you came. I sense a change in you." "I've been thinking about what you said," Anakin replied carefully. "About the power to save those I love." Palpatine's smile widened. "Good. Very good. You're finally ready to hear the truth." Anakin's heart pounded. Beneath his robes, a small recording device, borrowed from Padme's Senate security kit, hummed silently. "The Jedi have lied to you," Palpatine continued, rising from his chair. "They fear power. They fear you. But I see your potential, Anakin. I always have." He stepped closer. "The dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities some consider to be unnatural." There was the line, the hook. Anakin forced himself to stay calm. "You're talking about Sith teachings." "I'm talking about survival," Palpatine hissed. "About control. The Jedi would let Padme die rather than break their precious rules. But I can teach you to save her." Anakin's fist clenched. "Ow!" Palpatine circled him slowly, like a predator. "By embracing what you truly are. By becoming my apprentice. Together, we will bring order to the galaxy. Peace, security, and Padme will live." "Who are you?" Anakin whispered. Palpatine stopped. His yellow eyes gleamed. "I'm Darth Sidious, Dark Lord of the Sith, and I have been waiting for you for years." The air went cold. Anakin didn't move, didn't speak. He let the silence stretch, let the confession sink into the recording device. Then he stepped back. "I can't do this." Palpatine's expression darkened. "What?" "I know what you've been doing," Anakin said, his voice shaking with rage. "You've been using me, manipulating me, turning me against everyone I trust." He backed toward the door. "But it's over." Palpatine's face twisted into something monstrous. "You fool. Do you think the Jedi will believe you? Do you think they'll forgive you for keeping this secret? I don't need their forgiveness." Anakin activated his comm link. "I need the truth." He ran. Minutes later, Anakin burst into the Jedi Temple Council chamber. Mace Windu, Yoda, Obi-Wan, and the others turned in surprise. "Masters," Anakin gasped. "I have proof. Palpatine is a Sith Lord." He held up the recording. The room went silent. Mace Windu moved like a storm. Within minutes of hearing the recording, he assembled a strike team. Kit Fisto, Aegon Kohler, C.C. Tyen, and Anakin Skywalker. The council debated bringing Anakin. Some feared his emotions would compromise the mission, but Yoda overruled them. "Earn this, he has," Yoda said firmly. "Face his fear, he must." Obi-Wan placed a hand on Anakin's shoulder. "Stay focused. Trust in the Force." Anakin nodded. For the first time in years, he felt clear. They marched through the Senate building in silence. Citizens and guards stepped aside, sensing the gravity of the moment. When they reached the Chancellor's office, Mace didn't knock. The door slid open. Palpatine sat calmly at his desk, hands folded. He looked up, unsurprised. "Master Windu, I assume this is about Anakin's accusations." "It's over, Chancellor," Mace said coldly. "You're under arrest." Palpatine smiled. "Are you threatening me, Master Jedi? The Senate will decide your fate." "I'm the Senate." The words echoed. Palpatine rose slowly, shedding his frail disguise like a cloak. His presence in the Force swelled, dark, suffocating, ancient. "You will not stop me. The Jedi will not regain control." And Anakin, his eyes locked on a Skywalker. "You will regret this betrayal." Anakin ignited his lightsaber. "I regret ever trusting you." Palpatine's face twisted into rage. "So be it, Jedi." He moved, faster than thought, faster than light. Twin crimson blades erupted from his sleeves. He spun through the air, shrieking, a whirlwind of hate and lightning. Aegon Kohler died first, a blade through his chest. C.C. Tyen fell next, bisected before he could react. Kit Fisto lasted longer. His green blade flashed, parrying, dodging, but Palpatine was relentless. A single feint, a twist, and Kit collapsed lifeless. Now only Mace and Anakin remained. Together, Mace shouted. Anakin didn't hesitate. He and Mace attacked in perfect sync, high-low, left, right. Blue and purple blades danced against Palpatine's crimson fury. The office exploded into chaos. Furniture shattered. Windows cracked. The Force itself screamed. Palpatine laughed. Yes, this is what you were meant for, Anakin. Not peace, war. Shut up. Anakin roared. He pressed harder. Mace forced Palpatine back toward the window. For a moment, just a moment, the Sith Lord faltered. Mace seized the opening. His blade came down, and Palpatine's reign was over. Palpatine's body hit the floor. For a moment, there was only silence. Then Mace Windu collapsed to one knee, exhausted. Anakin deactivated his lightsaber, breathing hard. It was over. The Sith Lord was dead. The Republic was safe. Or so they thought. Across the galaxy, something terrible stirred. On Utapau, Commander Cody aimed his blaster at Obi-Wan Kenobi's back. On Kashyyyk, Commander Gree turned his weapon toward Yoda. On Felucia, Commander Bly gave the order. On Megiddo, Cato Nemor, Seleucus Kami, Collar. Everywhere, the clones moved as one. Their inhibitor chips activated. Not by Palpatine's command, but by his death. A failsafe. The Sith's final revenge. In the Jedi Temple, alarms blared. Obi-Wan's voice crackled over Anakin's comlink. Anakin, the clones, they've turned. I barely escaped. Masters across the galaxy are reporting attacks. It's a massacre. Anakin's blood ran cold. No. Mace grabbed his arm. We need to reach the temple. Now. They sprinted through the Senate halls. Outside, gunfire erupted. Clone troopers stormed the building, executing Jedi who had come to support the council. Anakin and Mace deflected blaster fire, cutting through waves of soldiers, men they'd fought beside for years. Why are they doing this? Anakin shouted. It doesn't matter. Mace yelled back. We have to survive. They commandeered a speeder and tore through Coruscant skylanes. Below, the city burned. Clones hunted Jedi through the streets. Smoke rose from the temple spires. When they arrived, the sight was apocalyptic. Bodies everywhere. Younglings huddled in corners. Masters defending with their last breath. The 501st Legion, Anakin's own troops, marched through the halls like machines. No, Anakin whispered. He ignited his saber and charged. Stand down, he screamed at his men. That's an order. They didn't listen. They couldn't. Mace and Anakin fought side by side, disarming and stunning as many clones as possible. They wouldn't kill them. These were good soldiers, manipulated by Sith programming. But the numbers were overwhelming. Then Yoda appeared. The ancient Jedi Master limped into the temple's main hall, supported by Chewbacca. His eyes were filled with sorrow. Stop this, we cannot. Evacuate, we must. We can't just leave. Anakin protested. No choice, we have, Yoda said gravely. Outnumbered we are. Regroup we must. Survive, to fight another day. As they fled into the night, Anakin looked back at the burning temple and made a vow. This isn't over. The galaxy held its breath. In the days following Palpatine's death, the Senate moved quickly. Bail Organa and Mon Mothma led the emergency government, working with Jedi survivors and military leaders to uncover the truth. Medical scans of fallen clones revealed the inhibitor chips, organic control devices implanted during their creation. The revelation horrified the Republic. These soldiers, heroes of the Clone Wars, had been slaves all along, programmed to kill. When the Senate ordered the immediate deactivation of all chips, millions of clones awoke from a nightmare they didn't understand. Commander Cody wept when he learned he'd try to kill Obi-Wan. Captain Rex, who had resisted his chip long enough to warn Ahsoka Tano, became a symbol of hope. But the damage was done. Hundreds of Jedi were dead. The temple was in ruins, and the public was angry. How did the Jedi not see this? senators demanded. You claim to serve the Force, yet a Sith Lord ruled the Republic for years under your noses. The accusations cut deep. In the Senate chamber, the surviving Jedi Council stood before the galaxy. Yoda, Mace Windu, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Plo Koon, Shakti, and Anakin Skywalker. Bail Organa, serving as interim chancellor, addressed them. Masters, no one questions your bravery, but the people need answers. How do we move forward? How do we rebuild trust? Mace stepped forward. We failed. There is no denying it. We became soldiers when we should have remained guardians. We served the Senate and forgot to serve the Force. The admission echoed through the chamber. Yoda nodded slowly. Change the Jedi must. Humbled we are. A new path we must find. But not everyone accepted the apology. Senator Orn Free Taa of Ryloth stood. The Jedi Order must be held accountable. I propose a formal inquiry. And I propose that Anakin Skywalker, who concealed his relationship with Senator Amidala and kept Palpatine's identity secret for days, face trial for his actions. The room erupted. Anakin's heart sank. He'd known this was coming, but hearing it spoken aloud, it felt like betrayal. Padme shot to her feet. Anakin saved the Republic. He exposed Palpatine. Without him, I interrupted coldly. We might have stopped the Sith years ago. If he had trusted the Council earlier. If he had followed the code. Obi-Wan moved to defend his former Padawan, but Anakin raised a hand. It's fine, Master, Anakin said quietly. He turned to the Senate. Senator Taa is right. I did keep secrets. I did break the code. And Jedi died because I hesitated. His voice cracked. I accept whatever judgment you decide. The gavel fell. The trial lasted 3 days. Witnesses testified. Recordings played. Arguments raged. Some senators demanded Anakin be expelled from the Jedi Order and stripped of his rank. Others called him the Republic's savior. Padme spoke on his behalf, her voice unwavering. Anakin Skywalker risked everything to stop Palpatine. He could have fallen. He should have fallen. But he didn't, because he chose love over fear. He chose us. Her words moved many, but not all. The Jedi Council was divided. Mace Windu, though grateful for Anakin's actions, believed the code had been broken too many times. He must face consequences. Otherwise, what do we stand for? Obi-Wan disagreed. He saved the Order. Punishing him now would be a betrayal. Yoda sat in silence, meditating. When he finally spoke, his words were cryptic. A choice Anakin must make. His path, only he can walk. On the 3rd day, Anakin stood before the Senate and the Council and made his decision. I don't want her judgment, he said simply. I don't want clemency. I don't want this. He gestured to the chamber, the Council, the war-torn Republic. I've spent my entire life serving others. The Jedi, the Republic, the war, and I almost lost myself because of it. He turned to Padme, who sat in the senator's box, tears streaming down her face. I choose her, Anakin said. I choose my family. I choose peace. He removed his lightsaber and placed it on the floor. I'm leaving the Jedi Order. Not because I'm forced to, but because it's time. The chamber fell silent. Obi-Wan closed his eyes, pain etched on his face. Mace Windu nodded slowly, respect if not agreement. Yoda smiled. Wise, you have become young Skywalker, the ancient master said. Go in peace. May the Force be with you. Always. Anakin bowed one last time. Then he walked out of the Senate chamber, not as a Jedi, not as a general, but as a man. Padme met him at the door. She took his hand. Where do we go? She whispered. Anywhere, Anakin said, smiling for the first time in months. Somewhere quiet, somewhere safe, somewhere ours. Together, they left Coruscant. Behind them, the Republic began to heal. The Jedi Order reformed, smaller and humbler. The clones were freed. A new government rose from the ashes. And Anakin Skywalker, the chosen one, the hero with no fear, disappeared into legend. Naboo had always been beautiful. But to Anakin, it had never felt like home until now. He and Padme settled in a small lakeside villa, far from Theed, far from politics, far from memory. The war was over. The Sith were gone. And for the first time in his life, Anakin Skywalker was free. Weeks after their arrival, Padme gave birth. Twins, a boy and a girl, Luke and Leia Skywalker. Anakin held them both, tears streaming down his face, and whispered a promise. You'll never know war. You'll never know fear. I'll make sure of it. And he kept that promise. The years passed quietly. Anakin worked as a mechanic in a local village, repairing speeders and starships under a false name. Padme tutored children in history and philosophy, sharing her wisdom without revealing her past. No one knew they'd once stood at the center of the galaxy's fate. Luke and Leia grew quickly. They were bright, curious, and endlessly energetic. Luke loved flying. He'd pilot anything with wings, just like his father. Leia loved debate. She'd argue with anyone about anything, just like her mother. But neither knew the truth. Not yet. One evening, when the twins were 5 years old, Luke asked a question that stopped Anakin cold. Papa, why do I feel things before they happen? Anakin's heart skipped. He glanced at Padme. She nodded gently. He knelt before his son. You're special, Luke. You and your sister both. You have a gift. What kind of gift? Leia asked, stepping closer. Anakin hesitated. He'd sworn never to speak of the Force again, never to train them, never to risk them walking the path he'd almost lost himself on. But Padme placed a hand on his shoulder. They deserve to know, she said softly. Not everything, but enough. Anakin took a deep breath. There's an energy that connects all living things. It's called the Force, so people can feel it. Use it. Your mother and I, we knew people who could. Can you use it? Luke asked wide-eyed. Anakin smiled sadly. Once, a long time ago. Will you teach us? Leia pressed. No, Anakin said firmly. The Force is powerful, but it's also dangerous. It can make you do things, terrible things. I want you to live normal lives, safe lives. Luke frowned. Leia crossed her arms. They didn't understand. Not yet. But years later, when the twins were 16, a stranger arrived in the village. An old man in robes, with a kind smile and ancient eyes. Obi-Wan Kenobi. And the story was only just beginning.